Hello pandas of the internet, my name is Panda-chan. I'm a full-time artist-ish, a part-time cosplayer, and someone who adores RPG horror stories. I listen to them almost constantly while I draw. That being said, it's time for another horror story time, so sit back, grab a drink, and let's get into it. This RPG horror story was posted by Ephemeral Biscuit. I think my brother would rather be playing Doom. So this isn't a horror story exactly, but it is an ongoing nightmare of a supposedly easy adventure that I, player, my SO, DM, and my brother, first-time player, are running. I had asked my brother if he would want to give D&D a try, since he likes creative things like that, and I have been playing for a few years and am always looking to bring new people in. The DM said he could run an easy starter adventure, Dragons of Shadow Wreck Isle, for us, with a few homebrew elements thrown in to make it more fun and enjoyable for my brother, to give him more of a main character feel, without making the story solely about him, i.e. I am not his sidekick. Given that it is his first game and all. There was a small hiccup pre-game as he wanted his backstory to be that he was part of some Black Ops division of the army, the one they call in to do the dirty work. His exact words. Basically John Wick, but level 1. You are not John Wick at level 1. He wasn't jazzed about the change, but was happy with the compromise we came up with. Well, the first session went pretty well, I think. I played an overly excitable, trigger-happy wizard, my brother played a rogue, and we also have 2 DMPCs to basically keep us from dying. The only thing that really stuck out to me about the first session was the fact that my brother, playing a half-orc army vet, supposedly used to walking knee-deep in blood and guts, if you listen to him, kept yelling, yes, yelling, at me to use prestidigitation to clean zombie guts off of his armor, after he saw me using the spell to clean a page in my spellbook. This went on for the rest of the session and half of the next. And clean my damn armor, would you? Etc, etc. Second session, we meet a character who has connections to my brother's past, so naturally, he is very suspicious and hostile towards the character, although adamantly refuses to tell anyone else in the party why he is suspicious of the character, despite us supposedly all being a well-bonded party. It has also become fairly apparent by this point that if whatever is happening in-game has nothing to do with him, he will visibly check out, start looking up things on his computer, start stacking his dice into towers, checking his phone, etc. But whatever, it's his first game, it's fine. Third session. His character has somehow gone from I'm a cool kick-ass rogue to charging in, short sword, aikido, and screaming. He has also completely forgotten about most of his entire backstory, doesn't really remember why he is supposed to be suspicious of the NPC from his past. He is actually fairly nice to him at this point, and each how do you want to do this is more grotesque and gory than the last, like beyond Mortal Kombat levels of gory. At one point, he wanted to hack off the head of one of the monsters we killed and bring it back, dripping blood and brains and all, to the terrified people who'd asked us to put a stop to whatever is terrorizing our colony. It's making me uncomfortable, and even the DM is feeling that it's getting to be a bit too much. But my brother is having fun, so He also, immediately after we killed a giant octopus, took the next half an hour of our session to saw its legs off and try to turn them into lunch, repeatedly asking me to use magic to cook them because calamari is delicious, come on, proceeding to wave rotting octopus tentacles in my face. He also has a strength score of 9, the same as my wizard's, but will not stop going on about how physically strong and ripped he is, and insists on doing all the heavy lifting / manual labor, also while calling my wizard scrawny. He also just doesn't really engage with any of the NPCs or any story elements. Even when they come up to him to try and speak to him, he won't do much more than directly respond to what they say to him. How did the quest go? We killed the monster. Oh, was it difficult? What sort of challenges did you face? It was fine. Silence. It's kind of been solely up to my character to drive the plot forward, so to speak. Anyways, sessions go on, and little and not so little things keep popping up. During an early combat session, he googled the monster we were fighting, just to get a better idea of what it looks like, not to cheat or anything. And we told him, hey, that's kinda considered not cool. If you want a better idea of what the monster looks like, just ask the DM. This hasn't stopped him from doing the same thing several times since. He still also clearly appears very disinterested if what's happening has nothing to do with him, to the point of not paying attention to what is said and audibly counting how many turns it is until he can go in combat. Speaking of combat, by the 5th session or so, he still barely knows what his AC is, doesn't know the difference between his hit bonus and his attack bonus, or the difference between a roll to hit and damage taken, and half of the time isn't even certain of which dice he needs to roll for damage. I also usually have to explain to him on each turn what the difference is between his action, bonus action, and movement. He also has the habit of yelling out people's names whenever he wants them to do something during a fight in a "Hey you! A little help? Get over here already!" type of way. This also is probably just a result of this being his first time playing, but he also has an unfortunate tendency of completely dismissing how effective a spell I cast might be, i.e. the time we fought the giant octopus. I used Thunder Wave to push it away from me, and my brother goes, "Thunder damage? What's that going to do? I said use lightning to fry this sucker." Again, I know it's his first game and all, but yeesh. The DM runs into difficulty during combat because whenever he is describing something that either an enemy or a DMPC is doing, my brother will pop in with, "Actually, in Jiu-Jitsu it's called, Granted, my brother does have a black belt in karate, but bro, this is fantasy. He's also tried to insist that monsters should have different names, i.e. saying that the giant octopus is actually a kraken, or that the harpies we have encountered should have been called sirens. D&D does not equal real-world mythology. And when it comes to rolling, he, fairly, gets very excited when he rolls a 20, letting out a "Woohoo! Nat 20! Ha ha ha!" each and every time, or a "What are the chances of that?" 1 in 20. Bro, 1 in 20. Similarly, when he rolls a 1, he'll go, "Aw, come on!" And after one session, even claimed that it was sort of ruined by the fact that he rolled 2 whole nat 1s in a 4-hour session. Never mind that the following session he loudly and repeatedly called himself the MVP of the whole game after some admittedly clever ideas during combat. Meanwhile, when I roll poorly, he has on occasion looked into my dice tray and laughed at my low roll. Thanks, bro. And to top it all off, the final half an hour or so of each session is interspersed with comments of, "Are we wrapping up soon?" We should finish up soon. Guys, are we going to call it? Admittedly, this is because he is worried about his parking expiring. But 1. You can extend your parking, and 2. If my physically disabled and chronically ill SO can get himself to and from there on the bus, I think he could too. No? Thus negating the parking issue. This could be unreasonable of me, but it was especially frustrating today when, just as an RP moment between myself and an NPC that both the DM and I have been looking forward to for weeks, was just about to start. We should call it here, guys. My parking expires in half an hour. I don't know. Maybe I'm being unfair, but it's just getting really hard to play with him, especially when I don't even feel like he's engaged a solid 60% of the time. The DM and I talk/rant about this after every session, but don't really know how to bring any of it up to my brother. Mostly because this is his first game, and we want to try and let him experience a bit of everything. It's been hard, man. I love D&D. I look forward to it every week, and this wizard has been one of my favorite characters I have ever made. And it's just kinda disappointing how things like this keep adding up and making it harder and harder for me to look forward to when my brother and I sit down to play together, especially since I love playing with my SO as a DM. Call me biased if you'd like. And it's kind of hurtful to see my brother dismiss all the careful world building that my SO has put into this adventure. A lot of it, especially with my brother's backstory in mind, and just go look for the next thing to stab with one of his many weapons he now has. He has refused to part with any of the weapons he has, despite how good one of the new ones he finds might be. He now has 4 swords, a short bow, and 5 daggers, somehow. I can completely understand where you're coming from. I have been playing with my sister for about 5 years now, and to be completely honest, she was not at all impressed with the hobby at the beginning. So she played unhinged gremlin characters, but over time she learned more and fell in love with the hobby just as much as me. That is to say, maybe your brother just needs some more time to understand and get the hang of it, although there is no shame at all in thinking that a different table would be better suited for him and his playstyle. At the end of the day, I do think you should maybe bring it up to your brother and have a discussion with him and try working it out. Whatever you decide to do next, I wish you luck. And with that, I would like to remind you to subscribe, ring that bell, and leave me a comment telling me whether or not you play with any of your family members. And as always, check in next time.